you so much for joining us on this edition of our program, Issues of the Moment. Issues of the Moment is coming to you from the stable of Living Television Aba, Abia State, which is in southeast Nigeria. My name is Chimezie Ozems, and on today's edition of our program, we are going to take a look at the knotty issue of vote buying and next year's election. With the new electoral act that was assented to by President Muhammadu Buhari, it will be difficult to read next year's election as results will be transmitted electronically. Some politicians, especially those seeking for elective positions, have resorted to vote buying. What can be done to address the issue of inducing voters with money in view of high poverty level in Nigeria? And today I have three discussants who are able to talk about this very issue. Sitting on my far left is Sir Moses Ogbonna. Sir Moses Ogbonna is a practicing lawyer and he lives in Aba. Sir Moses Ogbonna, thank you for joining us on the program. Good morning, and viewers. Sitting next to him is also another legal practitioner. He is Mr. Chidi Ozazubike. Mr. Ozazubike, thank you for joining us on Issues of the Moment.
Thank you, moderator, and welcome, viewers.
The last but not the least is, first and foremost, a teacher. He is also a broadcast journalist. He is Dr. Stanley Ndago. Dr. Ndago, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I must point out that when you are in the midst of learned men, you have to choose your words. You have to be careful with what you are going to say. With that, I welcome our distinguished viewers to this show, and it promises to be entertaining and educating.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ndago. Now, Sir Moses, I'm going to start with you. The good thing is that you are a lawyer, and so when you look at the new electoral act, vote buying appears to be the last man standing when you talk about electoral malpractices in Nigeria. And we know that cheating in election has almost become a permanent feature of elections in Nigeria. What is your take as far as vote buying is concerned?
I think I must first of all commend the efforts of the present INEC. From the events so far, the elections that have been conducted, especially that of Anambra, that of Osun, and that of Ekiti, it is very obvious to everybody that rigging the election will be very, very difficult. And that has been the problem mitigating the elections in Nigeria. That is the problem why we have opted for A to win, and in the end, B to win. That was why many people who now rush to register as voters, we're having a kind of faculty in them, never trusting the INEC, believing that their votes do not count. But now it is assured that everybody's vote will count. Therefore, people have rushed. People now have confidence in the INEC. Having seen that it is near impossible to rig the election through either hijacking the ballot boxes or resorting to disrupting the voting at units or falsifying information to boost one vote results or figure in favor of one against the other. Having seen it, and the people, the parties are now aware that it is impossible to be done. They have now resorted to another symptom, another strategy, using money to buy the conscience electorate. As if the INEC knew, while propounding the Electoral Act, it is there that if you are caught either being influenced or the person influencing, you are caught in the act, the law is very, very clear as to what the penalty is.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Moses. Now, Mr. Zazubike, I don't know whether you read the last book by Chino Achebe, There Was a Country. He said that he revealed how some British officials assisted some parts of the country to rig the first election in Nigeria. That was a 1959 election. Now, based on that, can it be said that the British laid a foundation for electoral malpractices in Nigeria, including vote buying?
Well, we will say generally, it's not just Britain, but it is natural with men who are desperate. When desperation gets to its zenith, like as my colleague have just said, when all other windows, all other opportunities to engage in what the law calls electoral malpractices, because rigging is a journalistic expression. The law calls it electoral malpractices. When all the windows, other windows seem to have been closed, the only valve, the only opportunity that politicians now have seem to be the vote buying phenomenon mechanism. So that is why all energies and power is now tailored towards it as the only device of manipulating the election in favor of their candidates. Actually, it's not Britain started it, at least as far as Nigeria is concerned. But the truth is that we cannot blame Britain after so many decades of trial and error. We ought to stand on our feet. We were toddlers then. Today we are grown up, and we ought to take responsibility for anything that happens. We will not blame any country. It is simply that the politicians of these days, the tendency is even growing worse every day. Not because the foundation was laid by any country, but because in our innate, in our inborn propensity, we seem to be inclined, towards doing things the wrong way, getting things by fair or foul means, trying to take advantage because the political offices seem to be very juicy. I mean, you're a lawyer, for instance, in my profession, some people who have not moved one motion, people who have not handled one matter, and tomorrow they find themselves in a political office, and within 1-2 years, the economic turnaround, they can take care of a whole village in a year. So that attraction, that financial attraction, the position, the status, the power, the power play, the financial benefit makes people to be desperate, and they want to get it so that they can beat their contemporaries. So I attribute vote buying more to the depraved nature of human beings, our own underdeveloped state as a nation, more of it than allusion to a heritage from the colonial masters. I see it as a problem, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better, because even though we commend INEC, the truth is that the vote buying continues to be a very serious problem, even with the courts. The courts have not been able to grapple with the challenges. As I sit here today, there has hardly been any election that has been set aside by a court because of vote buying, because there is hardly any empirical or any scientific means of proving that somebody was given money. If you see a picture of where vote was being bought, how do you know it was bought for one party or the other? So it's a very intractable, very, very difficult matter to handle as far as electoral system is concerned in Nigeria. It's a matter of concern.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Dr. Stanley Nduagu, can it be said that vote buying started from our political parties when you consider what happens at the party primaries? People even buy votes in dollars.
All right. While Barrister Moses Ogun would commend INEC, I will start by commending this National Assembly and also Mr. President for assenting to the bill, because there was this impression that he was not going to sign that bill into law, and he did not minding if his party would be affected negatively by this. Right now, when we talk about vote buying, let us, for emphasis, let the public know what it is all about. It is a situation where people go to the polling units, give out money to people, and influence their choice of candidates. It didn't start today in Nigeria. In 1983, it happened, but at a very low scale. But 1999, it was low because we were just returning from the military rule. In 2003, here in Niger State, I monitored elections. It also happened, but at a very low scale. That time, the difference between that time and now is that it was at a low scale, but now at a higher scale, and that time it was just done at the polling units. Now, in intra-party elections like primaries, we've seen that come to play. In 2015, or 2014 rather, when a particular party held its primary in Rivers State, we were told that that was the first time we saw, or we were told, that dollars exchange hands, no longer naira. Because if you carry naira, it will be too bulky for people to carry, and it will expose. So a particular candidate, I don't want to mention his name, was accused of giving out between $5,000 and $7,500. And up till today, nobody refuted it. So when people saw that this could be an easy way of clinching the party ticket, because that is the first step if you want to win an election, they had to key in. Now that went in 2000, and just recently, the thing moved from $5,000 to as much as $35,000, as we were told by delegates, by the giving to delegates. We were told that this particular candidate brought out $10,000, the other person, to outsmart him, brought out $15,000, the other person brought out. And up to this moment, no arrest was made, even when it was obvious that that particular thing happened. And let me tell you, I was at APC convention in Abuja, special convention, just a few months ago. I saw what happened that particular place, which I don't want to say on a national television. So this issue of vote buying has become a cankerworm, just as the lawyer here said, that we don't even know how to handle it. We were told that some arrests were made some time ago. That should be in Osun State. And up till now, we don't know what has happened to the people who were arrested. It took place in Anambra. Though Anambra's election was adjudged fair, but we know that there was evidence that there was vote buying. One party will accuse, PDP will accuse APC, APC will accuse PDP, and as the lawyer said, you cannot even establish which party bought whom within that particular period. He went further to Ekiti, to Ondo, now Osun State, as we are told. So the issue is that it is the Nigerian politicians' desperation to win elections that has brought this, and it starts from the primaries now down to the final elections. And this is an issue we must find out a way of controlling, without which the wrong candidates will keep emerging through this vote buying process.
Okay, thank you. Now, Sir Moses Ogunna, you heard him. The last speaker said that vote buying has always been there with us, but it has continued to increase with each successive elections. Now, what do you think are the factors responsible for the increase over the years? Is it the level of poverty? As the level of poverty increases, vote buying increases? Your own opinion?
Yes, the masses have been so much humiliated. They have been downtrodden. They have been immersed into penury, not poverty again. That everybody now wants to survive. They believe that if we vote you in You have been voted in for you and the members of your family. Soon after you are voted in, you no longer have recourse to the voters and the masses who toiled, many of them, under the rain, under the sun, followed you through the primaries. In the end, you are voted in. The first achievement is to stop picking their calls. These are people who were even lying down with you on the same bed, planning how to make you win. These are people who fought on the streets, arguing that you are the best candidate. These are the people who contributed their money. Some bought buses and branded it, fleets of them, and they gave to you to make sure that you win for the betterment of the people. Soon after, you now go in and they turn your back on them. Then they now begin to nurse this notion that since when you go in, it is for you and your friends and members of your family, you must pay dearly for it. They say it's your turn. So that is why the more the people in government pauperize the people, the more the people begin to lose faith in them. The more they want to have their pay in advance before they can vote. That is why, as bad governance improves on bad governance, the loss of faith and hope of the people also increases. And my brother, vote buying is here with us. We must begin to look for how to stop it. If to prove whether it is there, my brother, it is there, glaring on the face of everybody, including the INEC.
Okay, Barrister Ozazubike, now Nigeria has become the poverty capital of the world. Is it possible to, can it be said that the fight against vote buying can never be won when you consider the level of excruciating poverty in Nigeria? It's just a waste of time.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a waste of time. At least we should make our own little effort. But I want to say it with every sense of responsibility that in so far as the average Nigerian earns an amount that is less than a dollar per month, in so far as a civil servant will invest his or her youthful ages serving the state or the nation, and then after 35 years he or she goes home and cannot even have 2-bedroom flat of his own. He cannot even be sure of ability to eat 2 square meals, cannot take care of his health at old age. He cannot, we are even talking about building house, even to buy drugs. You see them when they come to do verification, you see some of those old men, they are walking sick, people have to carry them there and bring. So insofar as the political class has deliberately subjected the critical mass of the people to the lowest ebb of poverty, and as long as they continue to be hungry, so long will vote buying continue to be a feature of our political process. Because when people are hungry, in fact, one of the Machiavellian theory, if you want to control any person, just hit the person to the level of poverty, and then wave some carrots, some fund money before him. If you wave it to the right, he follows. If you go to the back, just like you use corn to control chicken, that's how the politicians use money. Because as in my capacity, for instance, I'm not a wealthy man, but the basic things of life as a lawyer, I live in my house, in the village, in town. I'm training my children, I can put myself on the wheel, the basic things of life, I have them. And I can afford to say no when somebody gives me 20,000. What will that do to me? But for a very poor person who has not seen 20,000 in the last 1 month, and he sees 50,000 naira, and he's sure, as my colleague have said, once you get to that office, you will not remember him. My brother, it is very difficult for him to resist offer of vote. So the only solution is that we have leaders who are conscientious, their conscience have been pricked, and I will call it converted from that stony heart to a heart that is soft, that feels for the critical masses. If we have such leaders, and there is water, there is basic thing, electricity, basic means of transportation, then people can stand their right. When you give them money, they will say they don't have any, they can't take your money. So it's a serious matter, because as long as people are poor, so long they will continue to be victims. It doesn't matter how you do it. They will always devise means of paying the money. Sometimes they can even say they are going to toilet. Will EFCC follow them inside toilet? They enter inside toilet. This one is male, this is female. As they enter inside toilet, the EFCC will not enter there. They will just give the person $1, and the person goes. They will always be innovative in their method of trying to circumvent the system. So it's a problem, but I want the religious leaders in their mosque, in their churches, community leaders in traditional ruling palaces, to try to preach that gospel that will make people stand their ground and not sell their conscience, because selling your vote is tantamount to selling your conscience, and that is selling your conscience for 4 years, for 8 years. And if you continue like that, we can never produce, my colleague here said, we will never have leaders that can change the narrative. It will just be business as usual. And I pray that we will turn a new leaf.
Okay, Dr. Ndragon, is it possible to resist money on election day when you know that that money may be the difference having food on the table and hunger? Is it possible?
Well, let me first of all react to what Barrister Chede Ozazubika said. He went too high, as far as 20,000, 50,000.
Even 5,000?
When we are talking about 5,000 naira here, he went to that particular estate. He also mentioned that religious leaders, traditional rulers can assist. Which traditional rulers are you talking about? The people who are political traditional rulers? Are they the people who are going to preach? Because it is a shame that even our traditional rulers have become card-carrying members of political parties. That they dance to the tunes of so many of these politicians. Are you talking about pastors who themselves have become politicians? So it is a difficult thing. Now, in answer to your question, how would you tell a woman that has not seen 5,000 naira in the past 2 weeks to reject 5,000 naira on the election day? How would you expect a woman whose children were left hungry at home out of school to come that day and resist 5,000 naira? How would you tell a bricklayer that has not gone to work in the past 1 week to resist 5,000 naira? How would you?
Cost of cement.
Cost of cement. Thank you very much. How would you tell a young man who needs 350 naira or even 500 naira to go to the next betting joint to resist 5,000 naira that particular day? It is very difficult to ask them to resist this. The issue is that moral values have come too low. In the 80s and early 90s, there are certain things you tell people to do, they will tell you, we cannot do that. I remember when we were young, a young man was involved in an examination malpractice. And when he came home, his parents rejected him. You have brought shame to this particular family. And people were coming from far and near to pay condolences to the family, as if somebody died in that particular family. That tells you the level of moral rectitude we had then. Now it has come too low. So to answer your question, it will be very, very difficult to ask somebody who is very, very poor, who has been so impoverished, to resist that particular one he or she has seen that particular day. The person will say, nah, I'm not had this one, let me collect this one from them. After all, I don't even know when next I'm going to see them. Professor Semuso capture the whole thing. That, look, this is the little opportunity I have. Let me grab it from them. After all, I'm going to see them again in the next 4 years. So it is difficult to resist that particular money to the highly impoverished class of the society, who even make up 70% of our society.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stanley Ndwago. At this point, we are going to take a break. And when we come back, issues of the moment continues. Today, our talking point is 2023 election and the effect of vote buying. Stay tuned.
Revolution is a reality. Let's give it a chance to grow. Let's join our hands to farm the land so we can have enough food to show. Let's save Nigeria so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Way to go. I love my fatherland. Oh sure. I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Our ambition to be millionaires is running the country down. We all want to be millionaires and to live in the air. Oh, let's save Nigeria so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way? Remember that a simple step is the beginning of 1,000,000 miles. Let's start right now to rebuild ourselves so as to make the country smile. Let's save Nigeria so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way? Which way Nigeria? Heaven and earth will pass away. It is written in the book of God. The good people will surely find their ways, and the meek will inherit the world. Let's save Nigeria so Nigeria won't fall. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yes. I want to know. We want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Which way Nigeria? Which way? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. One more time. Which way Nigeria is heading to. Let's save Nigeria. Which way Nigeria is heading to. Which way Nigeria is heading to. Which way Nigeria is heading to. One more Oh yeah. I want to know
Which way Nigeria is heading to?
many years after.
Welcome back to the program. This is Issues of the Moment. Like I said before we went on that short break, today our talking point is vote buying and next year's election. You are aware that Issues of the Moment is a phone-in program. So at this point, we are going to open our telephone line so that you can be part of this interesting discussion. You can get us on 091 6828 4994. 091 6828 4994. Gentlemen, welcome back. Yes, this issue of vote buying. Barrister Ozazubeke raised the issue of clergymen, traditional rulers, placing emphasis on vote buying, creating awareness, telling people not to sell their votes. Now, don't you think that the message we have been getting is that people should go and get their PVC? Now, don't you think that it is time for the message to change? Don't sell your vote.
Actually, in all honesty, it's the only hope, the only opportunity we have now is to use moral suasion, to use the media and all other avenues of influencing people's thoughts, people's worldview, people's mindset paradigm to shift from the old system of buying or selling vote to a new era of insisting on the right candidate. And I believe, I have faith that there is nothing impossible with God. That if we consistently, continuously continue to preach it, continue to say it as we are talking and people are hearing it, it is the same system that you saw youths that have been in limbo for how many years. Suddenly, you see an 11th hour awakening and everybody is struggling to go and register and get their PVC. If not for the deadline, I can assure you that many more people will say have gone to get their PVC. If we could achieve that, by that same means, we can also mobilize people, preach it, teach it, pray it, convince it, people, use the media, blow the trumpet, sound the alarm, however we can, that people should be satisfied with whatever they have. The doctor who beside me here was talking about the moral decadence, and in those good old days, people stood for. I can assure you that when we were in primary school, if it's ever hard that you looked at another person's paper, in fact, you cannot eat in my father's house. My father was a classroom primary school teacher and also a catechist of a church. So that foundation was laid, that people don't talk about going to look at another person's paper as a student. In that same manner, we can inculcate that discipline of saying, no matter how hard it is, no matter how difficult the situation is, I will not sell my vote. I will stand by. If we do so, I assure you we can make impact. It's not going to be an automatic, change, but it can improve gradually, and over time, we'll see a change. And I trust God and believe God that the same way that we saw other systems.
Let us take this call. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you for joining us on the program. Can you tell us your name and your location?
Okay, this is Emeka calling from Lagos.
Okay, Emeka, thank you for watching. Can you talk to us?
Yeah, I like your program. I just want to comment on this issue of vote buying.
Go ahead.
We all witnessed what happened during the primary, and if care is not taken, it will still happen or it will still occur again this time. Like in Lagos, you see what has been going on, especially in Igbo. Actually, they are trying to marginalize us. Like even the PVC, some of our PVC, we went for registration. That is how things everywhere. Even short, even the police themselves, they are causing this issue of vote buying. So the vote buying should start from the top, not even the masses. And secondly, the rate of poverty in Nigeria, the rate of poverty, I think this is the main reason why this vote buying happening in this country. Because if somebody like me now that is doing business, my brother in Aba that is doing business, you see that the road everywhere is messed up. You will open your shop from morning to night, no customer will come to patronize you. Then when you see money, $50, you go for that. The economy is getting worse every day, even the dollar. How much is the dollar now? So I think these are the issues that are causing this vote buying. We need to talk to the government. The government needs to make the economy to be stable so that if I am okay, if you give me money, I will say, go and sit down. But if you are not okay, a hungry man is an angry man. That is the thing.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mbeka. Moses Obuna, you heard him. He expressed worry that vote buying may mar next year's election.
Yes, we are afraid of it too. Because from what he's saying, it's obvious, glaring, that we have bad governance everywhere, both at the national and the state levels. Like he said, if everything is in place, Nigerians are not lazy. Our youths are not lazy. You have youth, look at what is happening now. When a youth who has labored, because every market now is online, he cannot afford to rent a shop and put some wares into it. Many of them now resort to creating online market. A policeman will see him on the way and grab him, seize the handset, and they label him Yahoo boy. You carry your laptop, they label you Yahoo boy. And when people are so reduced that there is no means of livelihood, there's no road. If you buy keke, you don't have road to move. If you have road to move, police will be harassing you every day. That you cannot even be able to remit your weekly revenue with the higher for the higher purchase. You understand? So for us to stop vote buying, there has to be confidence. The masses, the voters, have to have confidence in the people that are voted, in the politicians, making it to be a Commonwealth kind of project, a project that involves everybody, that if we vote you in, the common interest is we. That your programs, your agendas is to make the masses, revive the masses, make them enjoy, have a governance that everybody will benefit, have the interest of the people who voted you at heart. If you're able to do that, people will now begin to look at the candidates from whom they are, from whom they were, to whom they are, from whom they are, to what they expect him to be. A situation you see somebody who comes from America, he has been in America all the while. He has not been known in Abia State or in Nigeria to know what we are suffering from. He just lands. Or a money bag.
Okay, so Moses, let us take this call. Okay.
A money
Continue.
bag who suddenly appears on the scene and begin to distribute money to the already pauperized, dehumanized people who no longer have means of livelihood and they have a little one. They will resort to it.
Excuse me. Hello? Hello?
Hello? Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us on Issues of the Moment. Can you tell us your name and where you are calling us from?
Hello, this is Danjuma. I'm calling from Justin, Barikin Ladi local government.
Okay, Danjuma, thank you for joining us on the program.
Hello, what thing I want to talk, I want to comment was buying everything I spoil for this country. It's not buying even Mr. President now, insecurity, I don't make even Mr. President. Everything Mr. President I do, I know the concentrate part. This is what buying I am talking about this period. If I don't take time, if I don't make sure that everything is not put in place, this country will lie, I will scatter. The vote buying of insurance, even in jobs now, you find out that things are very expensive. Even in the market, everything are very expensive. How can even me, my farm, I cannot go to farm again. So now the time of election, if I don't get money to chop, if I go the following unit, if I give me money, I will vote for you. Because I know if I vote for you now, I'm to see you again. So I need to collect your money and chop now. Because after the election, country and everything will take on. That is why, even Mr. President, before I talk, say I believe youth. And this year, I am telling all my youth, I should not go and collect money. I should not go and collect money. I should watch my conscience. I should be obedient and be useful to this country. Thank you and God bless you. I'm working for my resident man. After this program, I should put my resident. I love this station, livingtv.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Danjuma. Mr. Danjuma called from all the way from Jos, Plateau State.
Yes, as I was saying.
Yes, okay. Okay, we still have another caller on the line. Hello? Hello? Okay, continue.
Yes, from what he's saying, you see, it is everywhere. It's all over the place.
It's a national problem.
Very national problem. The only way we have to do it is twofold. The government has to prepare to make sure that there is good governance, provision of amenities to the masses. The other one is on that day, because I do not see the number of EFCC that will mark the number of units. I do not see the number of policemen that can stop vote buying.
It's impossible.
The only people that can stop vote buying are we.
Are the people themselves.
The politicians. If a politician A from party A is seeing the person from party B giving money, go and carry the money from him. Stop him from giving it. Only the parties can checkmate themselves. If you are there, I'm an agent of party A, and I see that party B is giving out money for people to vote, not according to their conscience, I should be permitted to challenge him. After all, the law says, if you see anybody committing crime before you in your presence, you have the duty and the right to arrest him and the report, take him to the police. So it is we, the party people, the masses, that will checkmate this syndrome, menace that is about to come.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
I partly agree with Barrister Sir Moses Obunna, and I partly disagree with him. I don't see the possibility of a particular party that is trying to outbeat the other in vote buying, challenging the other. Because in the last election, I monitored. Even in Osun State, we saw cases where different parties were trying to outbeat the other. But in support of what he said, only the masses can control this. Now, in Anambra State, there were places where people said nobody is going to distribute any money here, and the youth stood their ground and the thing couldn't happen. There was also a case where a woman rejected 5,000 naira and ended up earning 5 million naira thereafter. There is a message that started some months ago. I have discovered the message is coming down now. It started with the youths. We know they collect CC, we know they give CC. That is the kind of message we should pass. And thank God for Living TV that has started preaching this particular thing now. Let that message of we are not giving a kobo, we are not collecting a kobo from anybody. Let that message be amplified by different youth groups, by different NGOs, by every individual. And if that message keeps going from now till February, we may not totally eradicate vote buying, but it will be reduced to the barest minimum.
Okay, thank you very much. At this point, we are going to seek the opinion of Mr. Chris Ejiri. Mr. Ejiri has been monitoring elections in Nigeria. We are going to call him so that we can sample his opinion concerning the issue we are discussing today.
Hello, the person you are calling is on another call at the moment. Do hold on. I'll call back later. Thank you.
Hello, Living Television.
Yes, Mr. Chris Ejiri, thank you for joining us on the program Issues of the Moment.
Yeah, I am walking down. Is that it on phone or by Zoom?
No, it's on phone. It's by phone.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chris Ejiri, I learned that you have been monitoring elections in Nigeria. Is that true?
Yes, by the special grace of God, my organization, the Flag Foundation of Nigeria, have been partly involved, among other things, in the election observation and monitoring. It is for the past since 2007 today.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Now, today we are taking a look at vote buying. When you consider that we are approaching another election year, can you share your experience with us on the issue of vote buying?
Yeah, okay. But please, with all due respect, I would not want a situation where discussions surrounding around vote buying would be cloud the mileage we have covered, the benefits, I mean the advantages we have now,
Okay.
judging from the introduction of the digital system, from Anambra, November 6th, Juba election, FCC area council elections in February this year, then the new electoral act that was signed into law, the 2022 electoral act, the Ekiti state election, the Osun state election, all these elections series, the state elections, Juba elections, came and passed peacefully, freely, and fairly. So I want discussions going forward to situate around the successes of these elections that ended peacefully. You know, people who feel they lost will always go to court. I mean, I want to emphasize on this managing where we are.
Okay.
And to say that, look, Nigeria has entered into a new era of electioneering, into a new era, far a complete departure from what we used to have, from what we used to